This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Hub podcast presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics and Lake Sumter State College. I'm your host, Kyle Coppola. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to welcome to the show East Ridge High School coach Sarah Klosterman to the program. Sarah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're coming off of a fantastic season. You got the Special Olympics Florida shirt on, and you're coming off of a state championship victory with your group. Congratulations. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I believe this was the first year for East Ridge High School with the unified football program. So how was that? And you ended up as a state champion, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is our first year for unified flag football. East Ridge High School is a champion school, and we did have track and field and cornhole, and now we've added unified flag football, bowling, and now basketball as well.
So that's really exciting because last year we saw the success that Tavares had. They ended up being state champions, and then Mount Dora got into it. And now we've got East Ridge down there in Claremont that's having great success. That must have been really cool. What started that conversation, and how did you get the team together?
I'm going to be honest, seeing Tavares win that state title just motivated. I was like, wait, we can do flag football? That's so cool. And gave the kids another outlet of a sport. To be a student athlete like their gen ed peers. So you end up starting the program. What was like the most challenging part? Because anytime you start a program up from the ground up, we talked with Liberty Christian Prep. They started their football program last year, and they had struggles early on. They ended up winning a state championship at the end of the year, but and that's 8-man football. But it's always a challenge to start something. So how was that? It really was a challenge. So I had to become a certified coach. So you go to like a training class and learn the rules. And with unified flag football, because it is a sanctioned FHSA sport, they're very strict rules. So I had to have a team of 5. The team could be 10. Mm-hmm. On the field would be 5, 3 athletes and 2 partners at all times. So I had to pick athletes, and then I had to pick partners. When I did that, the partners have very strict rules. They couldn't be a varsity football player. They couldn't be a varsity track or a varsity flag football if we had girls flag football, which East Ridge does. So I had to go down and I had to find kids that I knew were going to be a good fit to work with our athletes. In doing that, I found amazing students. I kind of voluntold them as like, I need you. And they agreed, obviously. And then finding the athletes, I had to go in the room and really build them up. I mean, I was like, don't you want to play football? They were looking at me like, no. And I'm like, no, really, like, let's go. So we had a group that started. You have to do assessments and assess them all. It's like a whole to-do. And then we formulated our team from there. But it was a little bit. I was like, oh, this is a lot. But my assistant coach, Mr. Josh Moore, he is one of our access TAs. So mm-hmm. He's with our athletes most of the time during the day. So he has that relationship with them. Then they had to learn me, which was fun. So.
Well, you've been in the area for quite a long time. You kind of grew up here. You ended up going to South Lake High School in its early days. Talk about this program with the Special Olympics that are with Florida. I mean, this is a really great thing to have because we had it up north. I'm from the Northeast, so it was prevalent there. But now seeing what's going on in Florida, I think it's fantastic, especially for this area to have something like that for our public schools.
I do agree. I think North Lake County, they've been doing it a little longer than we have, but it's now trickled down to South Lake County. And it's just great. Like once you do it once, and like I said, we had track and field, and then we've gotten other sports because once you see the camaraderie, there's a pure joy, more people want to do it. And more of those students, like in our access programs, they want to be student athletes as well. So giving them that opportunity. I mean, cornhole is a Special Olympics sport, and that's fun. I mean, most of us do that on a Tuesday night somewhere, again, for enjoyment, but they get to do it as a Special Olympics sport. So it's just fun. Again, it is other places, and I'm glad that it's starting to go down to South Lake County in bigger ways. And I hope more. There's like 30, I believe, Special Olympic games that can be done. So
Nice.
a school doesn't have to pick just flag football. They can do what their kids would enjoy as well. So
Describe the first practice when you first got out there, going from the first practice to the state championship. Just describe what that was like, that first practice, and then getting that trophy at the end of the year. That must have been really cool. Just a fulfilling moment to see that.
So I went in the very first practice and I said, "We are getting rings." And they looked at me, okay, like I don't think they understood what that meant. But we had to start right from the basics. First, we started in August. It was hot. Yeah. They were hot. They were like, we practiced 2 to 3 days a week.
And they're not even in pads.
No. So we first had to like just learn, throw and catch the ball. We had to be able to stand the heat because, again, they're not used to that. They aren't athletes, so they're not out in the summers practicing this or that. We had to learn how to pull flags. That's where our partners really came in because they were so invested from the get-go, and they were so encouraging and motivating. But what I think worked best immediately is as I do with other sports that I coach, everyone has a skill. And we definitely just honed in on that and played to that. Like one of our young men is obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. He is head to toe. Bucket hat, glasses, head to toe, Sonic the Hedgehog. He can run as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. He believes it, he does it. So we knew a running play and we named it Sonic. So he knew when we called Sonic, he ran. He grabbed the ball and he ran. And I think that's just what you had to take out of it is that we aren't going to be, this is your position and this is what you're going to play. We had to play with what do you do best, and that's how we kind of just formulated. What blew my mind is being able to, we had 4 plays that we did, and they learned it and they knew it, and it just blew you away. But you hold those high expectations for them and they were there. They wanted it.
Must have been cool for the, obviously you have the Special Olympic athletes, and then you also have your athletes that you have on the team. What was that like for them? That must have been pretty cool to go out there. I mean, they're able to, because really it's a team at the end of the day, but I mean, there's certain rules that they can't pass to each other and stuff like that. So what was the experience like for the guys who were athletes out there?
So we had actually 2 girls and 2 guys that were partners. 2 of them, one of our girls and one of our guys, are athletes, and 2 of them were not, but those other 2 are in our Peers for Partners in Learning. So they already had relationships with our athletes. They got to, in the classroom, help and assist them in the classroom as well. So I think that really helped too. They already kind of knew each other and were getting along. My athlete partners, they knew they were coming to have fun. They weren't out in their pads or, whatever else they were doing. They got to teach, I believe, they wanted to be taught their sport. And it was so fun because every single one of them were competitive, which was what I needed because I said I was going to get a ring and that was my goal. But they were able to coach and encourage and motivate because those 2 were athletes. That's how they wanted it to be done for them.
Yeah. And
they just carried that over. We had a lot of fun. They were goofing around. I think sometimes a little more than you should have, but at the end of the day, that's what it was. It's to have fun.
Yeah. And you made
winning
it.
Was the
you made it work. You're a state champion, and all those kids, you can't take it away from them. So
right.
That's really cool. We're going to take a short break here on the Sports Hub. When we come back, we'll have more with head coach Sarah Klosterman when we return.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Hub podcast. We're talking with head coach Sarah Klosterman from East Ridge High School with the Special Olympics. Thank you for joining us again, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you had a fantastic year. We're talking about the state championship that happened. We're going to throw them up on the screen real quick. Just a really, really cool thing that East Ridge was able to do. East Ridge High School ends up going out their first year, getting the state championship. Can you explain to us what that was like, the overall experience being down in Disney and going after it?
Yeah, so I'm very competitive. I have that competitive spirit. And I set out to win, and that's what I was going to do. We actually had district series games, regional series games, and then the top 4 teams went to state. So we're in Division 4. We did compete against Tavares. We had Childs High School, Palmetto High School, and we just kept winning. The experience at Disney's Wide World of Sports was something to remember. I can see why Special Olympics coaches do what they do, because it's intense, it's fun. On top of the competition, you see teams cheering on teams. You see everyone helping one another, generally just wanting success for everyone.
Yeah.
Again, even though competitive, the athletes, they're smiling from ear to ear, whether they won or lost. And that alone, sometimes you can get caught up in the woe is me, we didn't win type attitude, but you don't see that. And it's all so fast paced. In the unified flag football, you have 2 20-minute halves running clock. So it goes really fast. And you got games going on everywhere. Our director for Special Olympics Florida, Danielle Kent, she is fantastic. Everything's organized, from the refs to the water, all of it. It's a lot. And you just take it all in, and all of a sudden it's over, and you're like, well, you have to sit at home and wow, that was such a great day.
Yeah, that actually happened out there.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, and the overall experience too for these kids. And you mentioned Special Olympics is all about, I see kids all the time helping kids off the ground and encouraging kids. I love that, and I wish not that the the Special Olympic sports aren't like that, but I wish that kids could see that,
right?
And that could trickle down to more varsity sports at the FHSAA level, because that's just, I love seeing that.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because of it being Special Olympics, but all the partners, they have that sense of making it an experience for them.
Yeah.
So I think that may be what be lacking in high school sports, is maybe it's more expected there.
Yeah.
Of course you want to win. I get it. But that experience of the joy of the game, again, in high school sports, someone could make you no longer love the sport that you've loved your whole life. But in Special Olympics, because the athletes have such joy for anything. I mean, we're cheering on the other team. I mean, a good catch is a good catch, right? It's exciting. And the partners are really just invested in that, and they ultimately want the success for the athletes. So.
What did it mean for you and your team to just see those guys up there with the trophy after all was said and done? I mean, that must have been a really cool moment. It was
surreal. I was like, we played the championship game against Childs High School at Tallahassee, and they were undefeated so far. I was like, all right, guys, we're going to do what we can do, and that's it, right? But they kept going, and they kept going. Something I really instilled in them is okay, it was one bad play or this happened, but we just go out there and do it again. And they really caught on to that. They really enjoyed that. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Professional athletes drop the ball. Professional athletes mess up a play. We keep going, right? We want to win, right? And they're like, we want to win. Yeah. And so it was really great. One thing during our championship game, actually, the state games in general, both of them that we played, all of our touchdowns were made by our athletes, which was so cool. Our partners didn't want that for themselves. They wanted it for the athletes.
Yeah.
To see that it's incredible.
Yeah, how cool is that? And you end up going out as a champion. They get the trophy. And what's the biggest thing that you can take out of this experience, for not just for yourself, but just anybody that's a part of it?
Well, my hope it was and is that my partners get to share that experience with their other gen ed peers. Because again, there's other sports. East Ridge High School has the bowling or track and field, and they always need partners in these sports. And again, there's so many rules. You can't be a varsity athlete in that sport. So, but if it's not your sport, you could be So I hope that those partners start to spread their experience, and that trickles to more gen ed students and athletes wanting to join. Because again, it is an experience. You can't explain that experience until you do it.
Where do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years as far as that goes? I mean, obviously you're just in its infancy at East Ridge High School, but you got Tavares, Mount Dora, a lot of these programs that are starting to take off. They do a great job. I think Tavares was the model for many years in the area, but now you're starting to see groups like East Ridge High School and starting to take off. Where do you see it?
So for me, like you said, Tavares and Mount Dora, Eustis, they've had it. And if you're someone who's grown up in Lake County, rivalries run deep. So I would love the athletes to have a program, to have that rivalry, to have that student-athlete experience. So if they start and they play a couple of years on the flag football team, they get that feel of being a high school athlete.
Yeah.
That's what I envision and want. So, in our first year, we did win the state championship for our Division 4. I would love, you can move up divisions. There's Division 4, 3, and 2. Mm-hmm. Mount Dora was in Division 3. And Tavares and us and Eustis were in Division 4. So I would love to get where we have the skill set to move up in divisions. The games get harder, more intense. But if not, again, I would just love them to experience that rivalry, that experience of being a student athlete.
Yeah, for sure. And you can take this experience with you as well, because you're not just, of course, the Special Olympics coach. You're also a coach of the girls lacrosse program, which has been very successful in our area. We don't have too many girls lacrosse programs in our area. We're hoping to see that grow as well.
Yes. For Lake County, it has been here and there. Leesburg did have a program. I don't know if they still do. South Lake has a program. We have a program. Lake Mineola has a program. But it is, if you don't have feeder programs with younger students that play the sport and grow into the high school, it is hard. So we just have been fortunate. Most of the feeder programs are out in Orange County.
Yeah.
So the Orange County schools are thriving with girls lacrosse. But we have fun. We enjoy it. I have been coaching for 7 seasons now. Have 5 district trophies. Our last district was a heartbreak.
It was.
We lost in the last seconds of the game to West Orange. But then we did beat them in our first round of regionals. So again, it's that West Orange has been a rival for girls lacrosse for many, many years. That feeling you get in a win or lose situation with a rival school you just can't explain it. So
yeah, you mentioned the rivalries and you mentioned the Special Olympics. How important is it for kids at the actual school to see the Special Olympics too? Because I think it's very important to get kids involved. It's obviously important for your athletes to be involved in, and then their partners, of course, they see that and are wanting to be a part of that. One of the best things I ever did was the Special Olympics and be a partner to an athlete. It was an eye-opening experience, I think, and a lot of these kids, I think it's something that all these kids should experience.
Yeah, right when we came back from the state championship, that same day we had an in-school soccer game, and we announced our winter sports athletes during the halftime, and so we called out our state championship unified flag football team.
Nice.
They were untouchable. They thought they were superstar, so cool. And I think that also opened the eyes to a lot of our student body that there are others, like if you're not a varsity athlete or an athlete at Eastridge High School, there's still ways to do sports.
Yeah.
Again, like there's cornhole.
Yeah.
Like how fun.
How awesome is that?
When the kids see them practicing cornhole, they're like, wait, I want to play cornhole. Like you can be a partner for any of these activities. And besides that, a lot of kids are driven for sports. It drives them academically or for whatever thing. Mm-hmm. When you get to just have fun, I think that's, again, the experience.
Isn't that a cool part? We're going to take one final break here on the Sports Hub. When we come back, we'll wrap up with head coach Sarah Klosterman.
Are you ready for your future to take flight? Whether you're graduating high school or looking to level up, Lake Sumter State College offers affordable degrees and certificates that will punch your ticket to success in a rewarding career. Plus, with programs like Direct Connect to UCF, your opportunities with LSSC are endless. So, what are you waiting for? Join us in Leesburg, Claremont, Sumterville, Four Corners, or online. Learn more at lssc.edu.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Hub podcast, talking with Coach Sarah Klosterman with East Ridge High School. I want to thank you for coming on to our show. It's been awesome talking to you today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So you're obviously involved with Special Olympics. For anybody that's looking to get involved, because this was really your first foray, I guess, into the Special Olympics, especially at the flag football level, what's your advice to them?
So if your school is already a champion school, whether if you have other Special Olympic sports, or even you want to become a champion school, there's processes to that, obviously. But I'm not in our special education classes. I'm in a general education classroom. But I love everyone being included. So it's not, I don't want anyone to think, oh, I couldn't do that because I'm not in the special education classes. You do not have to be. You just have to go through the Special Olympics training to be a certified coach, do what they tell you to do, and then you can put a team together. But once you're a champion school, you can participate in any sport that you're willing to go get trained on, which it teaches you about protective behaviors, especially for people who might not be in special education, to learn about behaviors, how to handle situations, things like that. But really, honestly, if coaching is something you love to do, this is just icing on the cake. This is fun. This is inclusive. The relationships, you can't beat it.
Let's talk about confidence real quick too, because you exude confidence as well. You told your team that you were going to win the championship, and you did. Now it's the off season, of course, and you're going to try to do it next year too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see myself stopping now because, again, once you get that full experience, it brings you so much joy. Everyone has joy that day. There's no one upset about losing. It's so crazy. But so I don't see myself stopping coaching Special Olympics. It is fun. It's exciting. And you're right. I'm going to be honest, after I saw Taveri's win and they got a ring, I went to everyone and I said, I'm doing flag football and I am getting a ring. And that was my goal, and we did achieve it. I think the best thing was my partners being so great and honestly just playing to their abilities. What did they love, and go for that. So
that's your first ring too. How cool is
Yeah.
that? Years and years in the making, and you finally got one, and they all did too, which is really, really cool. So thank you so much for coming on to the program, and wish you the best of luck with the upcoming girls lacrosse season as well. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to wrap things up this week on the Sports Hub. Want to thank our partners that make it all happen: UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics and Lake Sumter State College. I'm your host, Kyle Coppola. We'll see you on the next edition of the Sports Hub next week.
This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.